Hello and welcome to my weekly video blog, and today on A Vogel Talks Menopause I'm going to be talking about 3 more increased sensitivities in the menopause. If you like my tips and advice, then please subscribe and remember to hit the bell icon so you can be notified of all my new videos. I'm sure you remember a few weeks ago I spoke about more increased sensitivities, explaining all about food sensitivities, smell, sensitive skin, feelings of extra emotions, and also a sensitive bladder. And so many of you got back to me with your own experiences of extra sensitivities that I thought I would go through 3 more today, and then maybe in a few weeks I'll cover some of the other ones as well. It's a really interesting subject too. So number 1 is sensitivity to pain. In simple terms, estrogen is almost like a natural painkiller, and it's one of the reasons why women tend to be able to tolerate pain more than men. The reason being is that in our childbearing years, we have a lot more estrogen in our systems. So of course, when our estrogen starts to fall, it means that any aches and pains we may experience as we go through the day and the weeks can feel more painful than what they were maybe before the perimenopause. Also, what can happen here is our joints and ligaments can get affected by dehydration and by falling estrogen, and that can increase inflammation and pain and discomfort in any joint in the body. So it could literally be from your fingers, your neck, your hips, all the way down to your toes. So with this particular one, we would recommend plenty of water just to keep the joints well hydrated. And also you could look at devil's claw. And devil's claw is a herb that is traditionally used for joint and muscle aches and pains. And an easy way to take it is in our licensed Atrosan tablets. Number 2 is more sensitivity to changes in temperature. This is a really big one. What happens here is we have a gland in the brain called the hypothalamus, and the hypothalamus, one of its jobs, it's a bit like our central heating thermostat. So when we get cold, it turns the heating up, warms us up a little bit. When we get too hot, it turns the heating down a little bit, just as you would with your own central heating thermostat if the room was too hot or too cold. The problem is that when our estrogen starts to dip, this temperature regulation can go haywire. And what happens is it sets our base temperature lower. So you feel hotter at a lower temperature. Say, for example, you'd start to feel really hot if it got above 20 degrees. Now what's happening, you would feel hot as it gets to about 18 degrees. So your body is reacting quicker at lower temperatures. So what this is going to do is, this is the area that triggers the hot flushes and the sweats, because your body is picking up temperature changes much more quicker than before. But it can also be outside temperatures too. A lot of women tell me that they find that they can cope better in the winter when the weather's cooler, for those of you who live in climates where you get winter and summer, but they find that it's much harder for them to cope in the summer because their body is reacting to heat when it's lower rather than higher. Other areas where this can occur, and a lot of women tell me, is when they're using hair dryers. They find that the minute they switch the hair dryer on, they get a real sudden surge of heat. It could also be hot showers. If you have the shower too hot, an easy one there though is just turn the temperature down and you might find that you're okay there. Exercise too. If you start to do a lot of aerobic exercise, you might find that you get hotter and you sweat a lot sooner during your exercise class than you did before. And for those of us that are going into winter, the central heating can do it. And remember that central heating can be very, very drying. So you're talking about very dry heat. it can be quite warm, and that in itself can trigger the rise in temperature again. For this particular one, we've got sage, which is known and traditionally used for flushes and night sweats. And an easy way to take this is in our licensed product, Menoforce, which I have a little look at here. Number 3 is sensitivity to light. Again, what can happen is that if you think about our eyeballs, they are filled with water, they're filled with liquid. So that falling estrogen can affect the shape of the eyeball. So your lens can then change shape, and that can affect your sight. It also means too that your eyes can be a bit slower at reacting to rapid light changes. So, you know, for instance, if you're going from a dark room into the sunshine, maybe before your eyes would react really quickly at protecting you from the glare. And now it's taking a lot longer to happen, and you're having to really squint, and it can be quite uncomfortable. And sometimes the level of light gets to the point when your eyes can't cope quite so much. With this particular one, I always recommend getting your eyes tested regularly when you go through the menopause and post-menopause, because your sight can deteriorate a lot quicker. You can also be more prone to eye conditions such as cataracts and glaucoma. And they can also pick up other health issues such as diabetes by examining your eyes. So this is one area where I really would get your eyes tested regularly, just to make sure that everything is okay. So I hope you found this interesting. As I say, so many different sensitivities can appear in the perimenopause and the menopause. So again, if any of you out there have experienced ones that I've not talked about, and you're wondering if it's anything to do with the menopause, then please send the messages in. And as I mentioned before, we'll do another session on sensitivities shortly.